Let's go.
Like the sound of stuff. Yeah. That's right.
And we smoked it all again.
Okay, here we are for another episode of the Poptimist podcast. My name is Taylor Berryman, and today we have Sad Baxter. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Deezy, and I sing and play guitar.
And I'm Alex, and I sing and play drums. And we have a bass player that rotates, but we're the two members of the band.
Okay, awesome. Well, I was just kind of mentioning before we fired things up, I have this quote that I kind of wanted to read you guys. And it's, what kind of crazy fucked up world do we live in where Katy Perry's Olympic anthem is exclusive to Apple Music, yet freely available to stream on YouTube and Vivo? This is why the music industry is losing its battle with YouTube and the government. It's a self-dealing, only-for-cash enterprise that puts the fan last. No wonder fans don't care. And that's Bob Lefsetz. Have you guys ever read his letter? His blog is called The Lefsetz Letter. Mm-hmm. So he's he's a cynical baby boomer. He writes all about how horrible the music industry is now. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys kind of think about that quote? What does it make you think of?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, he just kind of said that, like, there's, like, 3 different ways you can listen to the song. So, I mean, I don't know if the fans are the last one that they're losing out. I mean, those are all really big venues for music, like YouTube and, was it Vivo?
Yep.
So, I mean, like, if anything, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess where the money goes is kind of I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Basically, I think that I don't think the fans are losing out, because that sounds like if you want to hear the song, there's 3 different ways to hear it at least, sure. Which is better than one, which is what I think he's trying to say. He's trying to say that someone has exclusive rights over it, but you can listen to it on these other things. So I don't know what he's trying to get at that, but
yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like he's defending the music industry in that, and I feel like it's just so messed up, because it's like the fans can find their way to the music, no matter like what the limit is. They'll find the music. Like, there's so much illegal downloading along with everything else. It's definitely the musicians that suffer from stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, the whole system of buying music is really weird these days. It's just not at all what it used to be, and I think it's just this process that's ever changing, but it's also something that it's just, because of that, it hasn't been figured out what is good to do and what is bad for the consumer, bad for the musician. Just nothing is like final. It's always changing, and
there's no
unstable.
Happy medium yet, right, for the artist or for the fan.
Yeah, that's probably a good way.
I feel like it kind of seems like it used to be more stable, and maybe it was before, like, music was on the internet and stuff and able to be downloaded and watched on YouTube or streamed or whatever. But I feel like that might just kind of be like a facade. Like, I feel like it wasn't necessarily better when it was like you had to go buy CDs.
You could always look back and be like,
yeah, but was it
the
ever
good
really
old
great?
days? Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, and I feel like it's been talked about a lot, but it's just like there was less choice, but the people that were doing it had more money, and the people that were outside of that circle had nothing, whereas now it's kind of all spread around a little bit. Unfortunately, when you spread it around, everyone gets less.
Yeah.
And I think that's where there's like a lot of issues, because it's like harder and harder to be a 100% professional musician making your living off your music, but at the same time, there's so many more people that are having some levels of success, and for some, that's enough. Like, just getting to like a lower mid-level, where like you work a service industry job like half the time, and then like tour half the time. Yeah, exactly. And like
everyone
what's yeah, exactly. And maybe that's the best that it'll get for them playing music. And then there's and there are exceptions. There's people that are massive, and
but that is like that's such a small number of people that yeah.
I don't know. But then there's so many people getting creative and just like, for example, like I know like, Dr. Dog has an Etsy store where they like sell stuff that they make, to supplement. And I'm sure, Dr. Dog does great, I'm sure like maybe they don't even need to, but I don't know, I guess they do if they're doing it.
Yeah.
But they do it like, and it's like, almost like band merch, but even more specialized, like, and I guess stuff that you would sell on Etsy, like craft kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting. They're just like, like, wouldn't you need to? You probably don't need to do that, right? But then again, I don't know. Maybe they do.
We should Venmo them some money. Sounds like they need some money.
Yeah, they need a hand.
I think they just like being crafty, but who knows?
Exactly. But but that's just an example of like
when you're not on the level of like Katy Perry type celebrity.
Yeah,
it's like,
are
you ever gonna be doing really well? Who knows?
And it's scary, man. Like there's this, I feel, especially now, there's this great struggle and this great divide with art where you don't know what's next for yourself. Like you kind of mentioned, you're working service jobs and kind of trying to be on tour, then go back and forth between that. And there's this, I know one thing I struggle with is the unknown. I think we all do. I don't know.
Of course,
it's just like, what the fuck is going to happen next? Like, how am I going to pay my rent next month? Like, it's scary. But
you have to trust yourself that you're going to figure something out. And
and you have to just work your ass off.
Right. You have to know that you're going to be able, like, you're going to put in the work to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's like a hard thing to be objective about. You know what I mean? And it's like in being in a band, it's for example, just like booking a tour, you have to tell yourself you're gonna do it and make it happen. Like you can't like go into it halfway. You know what I mean? You can't be like, okay, well, like maybe we'll go here if we could find a show, and like I'm gonna try contacting this person, but if they don't get back to me, then like maybe we just won't do it. And it's like, no, we're gonna play here. I'm gonna write as many people as possible and like find as many bands, and then like when that doesn't work out, I'm gonna keep doing it and find even more bands to contact and more places to do, like and you just have to make it work. And that's with anything, even with money. Like it's like okay, am I gonna pick up another gig? Like let me get on Craigslist gigs and see if I can find a Broadway thing to play, make $50 or something. Just like.
Is this what you're doing in your free time?
Yeah.
Well, you have to be an entrepreneur now to be an artist. It's like kind of what you mentioned about Dr. Dog. You have to have multiple revenue streams if this is something that you want to do.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you want to do might not even be the thing that clicks or catches.
Right.
Like people are like, I'm doing like this podcast, I do music and stuff like that. I mean, this podcast just kind of happened because I was like, oh shit, I'm unemployed. What am I going to do now? I'm not making any money off of it, but I wanted to talk to artists and I wanted to talk to creative types.
Yeah. That's cool. It's absolutely making the best of being unemployed.
Yeah, and it's like taking that leap of faith and just saying, well, kind of what you were saying about you just have to do it. You just have to put in the work, the time, the effort, and the energy. And there's a lot of musicians out there. I guess this is kind of the good thing and the bad thing. There's a lot of musicians out there who aren't willing to do that.
Yeah.
They want to sleep until noon every day. They don't want to keep hitting up because artists they don't like rejection. Doesn't feel very. It doesn't feel. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But
it's part of the game.
It is.
You have to get used to it. You have to get over it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you have to constantly evaluate where you're at, and like it's this weird balance between like not paying attention to like the things that go wrong and just kind of keep looking forward, and then at the same time saying like, okay, well, like
analyzing
what went wrong and figuring out, was it my fault or was it not my fault, and if it was my fault, what can I do?
You just have to be accepting of what's happening and kind of work harder to overcome anything that's gone wrong.
It's crazy. It's tough. It's depressing. There's like it's like there's like, well, it's like there'll be a week where like every other day you go between I should just stop and this sucks and like it's pointless, and then the next day you're like, oh my god, I love doing this, I can't wait to do more of it, I'm feeling so good about this.
It's very up and down. So that actually kind of makes me feel good because I feel like I want to quit all the time.
I
want to fucking give up. No, I'll never do it. I'll never fucking do it. But I absolutely, whether I'm talking to people or just having to try and get people to come on the show, they're constantly falling out on me. Like just shit like that. I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? But then someone shows up and then I start doing it. It's like, this is the reason why.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I spent a lot of last year wondering like what I actually wanted to do, and this year's been I've just been mostly up about everything. I mean, we've had like our frustrating moments for sure, but it's the good outweighs the bad when you work really hard and you're passionate about what you do. Like, because in the end, if you're playing music just for your own happiness, then you're going to be happy. Like, obviously, if you want more, then you have to put more work in or whatever. But I don't know. Right now, it just makes me really happy when we play shows. So that's what I want to do the most.
Well, that's what I think kind of came across when I listened to your guys' record. It's very pure. It's genuine and authentic. And I really enjoyed the whole thing. I think my favorite song is probably Damien.
Oh, nice.
That's the one.
We just played that one in practice.
So I can definitely see why you guys worked with Wyatt. Like, it makes 100% sense talking to you guys because he kind of has that similar work ethic. Which I'm speaking about Wyatt Thunderberg for people listening who produced the album. Former podcast guest. He was on the last episode, I think. But yeah, we had kind of got to talking about you, and he just was talking a little bit about your sound, and I checked out your record, and I really liked it a lot.
Nice.
I just thought it was heavy. It was so fucking heavy. So what was the writing and recording process like for it?
Writing-wise, so I guess I think the earliest written song on that album is Poor Benny, and I wrote that when Alex had already moved to Nashville, and we were both like, well, I was newly graduated from college. He graduated the year before me, and he moved to Nashville after spending a year in Boston in between. And I went and I lived in my childhood home with my mom for 6 months, and I wrote that song and sent it off to Alex. And we'd been playing music together for years, but this was sort of like the start of something new.
Start of what became Sad Baxter, basically.
And most of the songs were written after I moved to Nashville, though, and just kind of...
This is like 2013, 2012 to 2013? 2013.
I moved here in 2013. Just sort of wrote songs based off of, what I was experiencing at the time. And at the time, it was a lot of uncertainty because I had been to Nashville once to visit it and was really not sure about the city. Like, the only thing I really was sure of was that I wanted to continue playing music with Alex. So I moved down here and I had like 2 friends for a while, and then I slowly got more friends, but it's, when you're hanging out with a lot of people, but you're not quite sure yet if you fit in, and you feel very unstable, and then maybe fall in love, and maybe it's not the best thing for you, and it's an unfortunate situation. So I had a lot of inspiration from really good times, really depressing times, very lonely times. So the writing process is just me sitting in my bedroom being really weird by myself. And then usually we have band practice and I bring the songs and go, okay, I wrote this and you're probably going to hate it. And then we play it and
then I like it.
And well, yeah, I guess usually you do now.
Usually I like it.
Usually he likes it, and then when he doesn't, he grows to like it more later.
Yeah.
And we sort of like figure out the arrangement of the song together. And he'll have ideas for me, like
more like editing and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
just
like
small edits and arranging things.
Yeah, or like how about we do this part twice there, or maybe do this part, less times, or we move this part over here.
Yeah.
Then we get loud here and soft here and all that kind of stuff.
And then the recording process. Well, we met Wyatt because basically our friend dragged him to one of our shows, and he became a really big fan, and I like to joke that he stalked me. But it wasn't quite that. It was just we became friends really quickly, and he really was eager to hang out, and made it clear that he was eager to be involved in our music in some capacity.
And this was also when we were just trying to play shows in
Yeah,
Nashville for the first time.
We had basically just started.
And so it was really awesome that he, like, kind of. I feel like he was one of the first people that kind of saw potential in us, which is awesome.
It was,
and it really helped us. And it took us like a year and a half to record it, just because like we were doing it just whenever we could. Like we started doing the drum tracks like February of 2014, and we just put it out in July of 2016. So I mean, we sat on it for a while too. We finished it up like in 2015, like summer of 2015,
almost a year ago, or about a year ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it took a long time, and like we didn't do stuff for like a month or two, and like kind of like, you know,
it was hard. I mean, we're all on different schedules. We're all busy. Wyatt and I are both like waiters as our like day job, except his is exclusively a night job, and Alex works at Trader Joe's, so he's there at like different hours than us half the time.
Yeah.
And so we had to kind of like work around our schedules, and he was going out of town to play with I guess Crit Baker's band and stuff, and we just had to make it work, and other things got in the way, and we just kind of put a pause on it.
It was cool though. I mean, like I like the pace that we went.
It worked.
We got it right, I think. And, and then we kind of sat on it, and once we were done recording it. But I guess that wasn't the question.
And we recorded it in his home, which was really fun.
Yeah, he has a studio, Nebulon 2, where he does his own stuff too, and he probably talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
And it's really nice just hanging out. He's got he has two.
He's got a cool
doggies.
place to hang.
He's got two. He's a cool place to hang.
He's like, forget about.
He's got two sweet doggies. He's got two sweet doggies. He had one at the time we were recording.
He had his dog Zoe at the time.
But
that
so
was always fun. We have a bunch of pictures of us just chilling with his
DZ
dog.
would be recording vocal takes, and I'd be sitting in the couch with Zoe in my lap and like just hanging out. Like
it was a really
fun.
relaxing atmosphere because we both felt very at home there. We had spent time there before we had started recording and stuff, and it was really nice. I mean, we had built like a solid friendship with Wyatt before we started recording anyway, so it's always weird to kind of like work with friends, and it was this weird thing where we were sort of becoming good friends while we were starting the working together process, although we had already been beginning the friendship beforehand. So it was interesting, but he was great to work with. Like, we love Wyatt, and he did such a good job, and it was cool. Yeah,
it definitely comes across. I think I would describe the album as organic sounding.
Cool.
That's kind of what I was saying. It sounds very natural, and I think when you have a process like that where you're starting to really, the friendship is starting to take hold right when you're recording the album with a producer like that. I think it translates.
Yeah.
And it translates into a good working environment.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been in situations before where I've been just playing in bands and things just tend to fall the fuck apart once you start really being around someone. You might have some kind of musical chemistry, but then it goes down the fucking tube.
Right, like when it really push comes to shove, and like you find out like the true
the true person.
Personally, we have both had experiences in other bands where we've just been like, oh God, this sucks, and like, and it'll suck because the music's good. So you're like, no, I'll just stick with it a little bit longer.
It's like a bad relationship with good sex.
Yeah, exactly.
It's constantly justifying not breaking up.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And then eventually, if you're smart, you just cut the cord. But so it was nice because we didn't have to deal with that with Wyatt.
It was only good sex with Wyatt.
Yeah.
Just kidding, he sucks.
I feel like he really got what we were going for.
He was very passionate about both us as people and the music. And it was really nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what you want in a producer.
Yeah. Like, it would suck if you wanted to change everything. I'd be like, oh, maybe we'll go with someone else.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, like he has the ear of the artist producer and the take of an artist producer.
Right.
He's an artist himself.
Right, exactly. Like he I mean, like, I think, I don't, honestly, you'd have to double check with Wyatt on this one, but I mean, he played in bands, first before he really got into engineering, I think. And so he knows what it's like to have a song that you've played live a bunch and want to translate that to the recording,
And that's what he was kind of saying about you guys.
Yeah,
And
that's what we
capture
really
that
wanted to
live
do.
vibe.
Like,
yeah.
you know, and it's different. Like playing live and playing for a recording is different. It's you can't just do. I mean, you could just do like a guitar track, a bass track, drums, and a vocal track. But then there's so many other things to it, like mixing and like I can't even think automating like volumes and levels and panning and like all that kind of stuff.
Mastering,
yeah, well, and mastering too, and so you know it's cool that we worked with someone that was able to have the knowledge of what works recording and be able to take what we knew worked live and playing as a band and translate that to the recorded product.
I think he also felt like a little attached to the music already before we were like, okay, let's actually make an album, because I would send him songs a lot. Like when I first wrote them, I would send them to Alex and to Wyatt. Alex to be like, hey, what do you think? And Wyatt just to be like, okay, I don't know, you want more music from me? Here's this, because he was really into this stuff.
He's a good bouncing board.
Yeah, exactly. So we respect each other a lot as songwriters, and I think that was kind of cool, because then when we got in the studio with him, he already knew all the songs, and it was easy to kind of be vulnerable about like how we wanted to go around recording, and I felt really comfortable doing vocals and stuff and just working with him, so that was cool.
So how did you guys get started? Did you both moved here from somewhere else? Where'd you grow up?
It's funny. I'm from Pennsylvania and she's from New Jersey. We both went to school in Boston, and that's how we met. We actually lived in the same apartment building, and we lived like 2 apartments away from each other.
Yeah.
And then we met each other. We started playing the band together, and
basically it's all coincidence that we started playing together. Like we went to a college that only houses 1/4 of their incoming freshman class, and we both just ended up not getting housing, and we ended up in the same apartment building.
What schools you guys go to?
Berkeley College of Music.
Oh, okay.
In Boston, yeah.
Yeah.
So we lived in the same building on the same floor, and I had like a couple friends, but they were like, you know, when you go to college and you have your first default friends, and you're like, this doesn't feel right.
Right, the ones that you get, they like match you. It's like, this is your like intro group, like you're paired up with these people.
So I had some of those, and I will forever be grateful for them, but God knows they weren't right for me.
Yeah.
But I left a note on Alex's door because I was pretty sure that Alex and his roommates went to school with me, and they seemed friendly. They'd always smile when we walked by each other. So I left a note on the door that was pretty honest, and was just like, hey, I have no friends, please be my friends.
Yeah,
okay?
it was pretty much like that.
Yeah, and then his roommate Phil wrote back, left a note on my door that was like, yeah, just come by and knock anytime. So I think that same day I went by and knocked on the door, and we hung out, and
the rest is all history.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
And then we all kind of like, it was cool because Alex lived with 3 guys at the time, and we all kind of just ended up playing music together. Like, I think we started playing music together in one of his roommates' bands before we started the band that was like the songs that I was writing.
There was like 3 bands in like one 6-person friend group, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we all I played drums in all of them. Like,
and mine was the last one to really start taking shape. And so we did that when we were in college, and then when we were at the end of college, we were like, okay, well, we want to continue playing together, but I don't know. So he moved here, and I went back to New Jersey, and then there was just like this idea that was like, well, we're still going to play music together, like somehow, even though I actually wasn't planning on moving to Nashville. I was planning on moving to Seattle, so I don't even know how that would have worked, which is like weird to think about.
It probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, so whoops. But then I don't know, just started writing new stuff and sent it to him, and then we recorded an EP. We did the tracks for an EP. Oh, that's true.
That I recorded on my laptop before I left.
Yeah.
And then I mixed it while living in Nashville, and I didn't know anyone, and so I was just sitting in my room all day mixing the thing, and then we finished it before you got here, and then you decided to come here, and then we started playing, and yeah.
But we don't, the stuff from that EP is really just kind of this weird
transition. It was like transitional material. We don't play anymore.
College band to the band that we have now, and we don't play any of those songs.
Yeah. And
we're not going to play any of those songs.
I'll
throw myself off a cliff if we do that, because I don't like those songs. But
She never did. She wrote them and was like, these are trash, let's put it out.
these songs are garbage. Let's record them and put them out there.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Let the
No.
record show. She hated it.
Yeah, no, but it basically was like this weird transitional thing that we did, and it was cool because then we could kind of continue working on music together in a way, even though we weren't living near each other for 6 months. And then I moved down here and we just started practicing like immediately. It was just like, all right, let's like start the band thing back up. But it definitely had different feelings to it. It was different material I was writing about. Like our college band, Alex and I dated most of the time we were in college, so songs are very different. I feel like those were mostly like stories I would make up, and then around the time I guess that we broke up, I decided that I wanted all of my songwriting to be very honest and just kind of be like my diary. And I think I was mostly inspired by like Weezer's Pinkerton, because it just sounds
Great
like
fucking
you just
album.
opened up someone's
Oh, yeah.
diary and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is this person.
It's real.
Fuck,
Yeah.
like, okay, but it's so great, and that's so many people love that album because he's so honest.
Yeah.
So I remember just thinking, okay, this is my chance. Like, no one has any expectation of me anymore. I'm just gonna write what I'm thinking, and that sort of started the new tone for what Sad Baxter became. And that's like the whole album and all the stuff that we've worked on since the album. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, totally. I can hear where like all the great '90s bands like Weezer and the Pixies and stuff like that
Yeah.
can come across as the influence.
Those are definitely some favorites.
Yeah, and I think it really translates. So you guys went to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, I think in your record it comes across that there's a little something extra in you, and I think that's when someone lives in the winter or lives in the fucking cold
Yeah.
weather. I grew up in Maine.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
So you know more than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always think you can kind of hear like a band's character based on geographically where they were located.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely like northern New England-ish, mid-Atlantic-ish,
Yeah.
whatever.
You start naming more of the country, Midwestern.
Midwestern, southern, west.
SoCal. Yeah, no, but we definitely have like serious attachment to the Northeast, and we definitely grew up with some serious winters and went to college with serious winters. I mean, we've trudged through a lot of snow in
Yeah.
Boston, so
Yeah.
and it was great. And
Love
I miss it sometimes, and I don't miss it other times. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if we could take like the music scene in Nashville and shove it into like where I grew up in Pennsylvania, I think I'd be really, really happy.
So we're part of
Like
Pennsylvania.
the suburbs of Philly,
Okay.
basically. Yeah,
You grew up in
Wawa
a town
country.
called Bluebell.
Yeah, I grew up in a town called Bluebell, and it's Wawa country. Anywhere where there's a Wawa, it feels like home. So, if you don't know, it's a.
Do you have
convenience.
Wawa in Maine?
No.
No.
We have Shaw's. That's what we have. Shaw's
Right.
in
Yeah.
Hannaford.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so those are grocery stores. Wawa is a food market.
What's the
It's
difference
like a
between?
gas station.
It's basically like
But it's really-
a
it's
nicer 7-Eleven. Like you know, like there's like Speedway and like Quick Check. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like
they're like a step up.
yeah, like there's like the made to order touchscreen thing.
Yeah.
It's like Wawa basically did that first. Like they were doing it like 15 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
They do a
And,
good job though. It's like I wouldn't want to go to like any other gas station kind of mart and get a sandwich, but Wawa makes like fresh to order one. So it's like, yeah, dude, let's go to Wawa and get sandwiches. And we used to do that when we were in college, and I'd go visit like Alex on school break or whatever. We would be like, I'm bored. What do you want to do? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
let's
what
go
you
to
just-
Wawa
you
and
just
we would
drive
just get a
around.
sandwich and like sit in the car and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I had Wawa like a week ago.
When we were on tour.
A week ago.
That was
and
the
it
best part about going through
I-
Pennsylvania.
No, I remember I was thinking back like on what we just did, and I was just like, I got a Wawa sandwich. That was great.
Yep.
A hoagie, excuse me. It was a hoagie. Yeah. Anyway, I love Wawa. That's
Yeah.
something you have to know about me. So
So if Wawa is listening right now, feel free to
Yeah, hit us
Give, like,
up.
a
fund the
sponsorship.
tour.
I have some Wawa socks, and I have a book about Wawa.
He's thought about, oh yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Okay, never mind.
So are you going to open your own Wawa franchise?
It's not a franchise. I think it's privately owned.
Privately owned,
I'd have to
okay.
become a manager. So, which
I
is
believe in
also
you.
part of the reason why I think it's so good. It's because they keep it in house. Yeah. Anyway, we don't have to talk about Wawa.
No, we have to.
We have to talk about Wawa. I'm trying to get an education on
Yeah.
the Mid-Atlantic.
Yes. Anytime it starts.
Step up gas station.
So
chain,
I think they're all the way in Florida now, and then I think there's some weird disconnect, and they're not in like North or South Carolina, but then they're in Virginia, and then I think the furthest north is kind of like the Philadelphia area, but it's awesome. Anyway, I wish they would come to Nashville.
Yeah.
Maybe one
Maybe
day.
I'll hear your
One
play.
day. There is a Rita's water ice food truck, which is also like basically like Wawa's on the top for nostalgia food wise, and then Rita's is like second place. It's like basically it's like shaved ice, but like thicker and like it's almost like ice cream, but it's not cream. It's like just ice and flavoring. I don't know. It's really good. And there's a Rita's food truck.
Are you really hungry? Like,
No,
you
I'm just
can't stop
saying.
talking
I'm
about
just saying.
this.
There's a Rita's food truck, so maybe there'll be a Wawa food truck.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Anyway,
There's
okay.
always hope.
I'm really glad I ate dinner before band practice.
I did
earlier.
too. I
Okay.
just love Wawa.
Because you sound like me. Like before I went home and ate dinner, I was like, "Oh, Kit Kat bar sounds really good. Can't wait to go home and make a salad. Oh, maybe I should just stop and get tacos. Wow, everything sounds really
Didn't you
good."
make like a Kit Kat bar salad?
Yeah, I sure
Some
did.
balsamic vinaigrette on top.
She actually put it inside of a taco too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually, I mean,
How
like,
did you know that?
yeah, Kit Kat. Savory and sweet might be good. I don't know.
Maybe not.
I don't know. You would know. You did it. So.
I would know. Yep.
So Friday, you guys have your record release show.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is going to be coming out on Thursday. So the show will
Cool.
be tomorrow. I actually
cool.
have it.
Yeah.
Shit written down. Let me see
Yeah.
here.
August 5th.
August 5th at
Queen Ave Arts
Queen
Collective.
Ave Arts Collective.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in East Nashville on Queen Ave Street. Or
Queen Ave Street.
You don't
Avenue.
say.
Queen Avenue. It's this really cool kind of DIY art space. We've seen a few shows there and they're just awesome. It basically is like playing in this big old empty basement and it's just great for
Except it's
parties
not a
and
basement.
shows. Yeah, but it feels like
It does, yeah. It's just like a wide open space.
And we're gonna
It's
have free LaCroix, and I'm making a zine that is exclusive to people who buy the cassette at this show.
And we're gonna have some art by our friend Devin Goebel,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is gonna be great. And we are gonna have some beer from Yazoo there, and there's some great bands playing.
Yeah, we've got Penicillin Baby, Slow Talker,
And
Laundry,
and they're all like some of our favorite bands. So
And our friend ZT from the band The Beach Benders is going to be DJing between
Yeah.
sets. It's going to it's a show, but it's going to feel like a party too, which is really
hopefully, I'd hope so.
We
I
have-
feel like that's a very Northeast thing. Like, did you guys grow up playing basement shows and shit like that?
I did
Yeah,
not.
I did.
He played
Yeah.
a lot of shows growing up. I didn't have a band until college, so
It was basically like basement shows and VFW halls and firehouses.
Oh
and stuff
fuck
like
yeah!
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we grew up kind of doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
do up there. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, and
it's so fun. I'm like really jealous that I missed out on that
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
Because
You're-
when I would visit Alex when we were younger, like I would kind of get to experience that. Like we went and we saw his friends play in like kind of basement shows like
Yeah.
that, and it was just
we
such
played.
fun energy.
We played a house show and a basement show on this tour that we
Yep.
just did. So you're catching up.
I know.
Yeah,
You're getting there. It's a rite of passage.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
fun.
it's. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's really fun. I watched a guy lick a mic stand from the floor at the house show we ended our tour with.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
It was great.
yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really fun. I'm glad I didn't lick a mic stand, but I am glad somebody else did. So.
Live without regrets.
Oh yeah, no, I could tell like he was all about it. Like he was just being a goofball, and it was awesome.
I didn't get to see the mic stand. Like,
It was the dude from.
I know who it was,
okay.
and I'm bummed I didn't get to see it.
It was the guitarist from the band that played first that night, and he was just like having a ball and like dancing around and writhing on the floor. And then yeah, he ended up just licking the mic stand while the last band was playing, and I was just standing there watching him like, okay, seems about right. It was great.
Punk rock, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Punk rock.
Yeah, it
It was a very punk rock show.
Whenever I would grow up playing those shows, shit like that would always happen, and it would always be like 90% dudes at every fucking show, and then their girlfriends that they would drag along. Was it like
Sounds
that?
about right.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and like, well, in the bands I played in high school were like hardcore bands and like metal bands and stuff like that, and so like it was very much a dude dominated especially that genre. Ear gauges, and then they would wear like backwards hats with like basketball shorts, and then a black like hardcore band tee.
Even during the middle of winter.
Yes. Yeah. Like, and then they would just like they would like dance. But
and
it
be
was
straight
more
edge.
like be straight edge and dance, but like the dancing was just like kind of like punching the air and like throwing your hands around something.
And moving your legs real weird.
Moving your legs weird, and like kind of like
legs real weird.
And I was at a show. I think it's the only bone I've ever broken in my body. I broke my nose at a show when I was like 15 or 16 because I was on the edge of this dance pit, and some dude was literally he was throwing his arms back behind his back in circular motions like this, and he I guess he was getting closer and closer to the edge of the crowd.
Helicopter move.
And then he just threw his arm back, like in his fists were closed, and he just like the back of his fist just hit me right in my nose.
So he dance punched you in the nose.
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was like
your nose
his
dancing.
back was to me, and he threw his arm back and just hit me in the face with his fist, and I broke my nose. So that was, but it was like at the same time, like everyone was just like, yeah, man, like that was cool, like like there's I just my nose started bleeding, and I just like walked out and like sat down, and like my mom came and took me to the hospital, and they're just like, yeah, man, you took that good, man, like that was cool.
Did you get like a concussion or anything like that?
No, we didn't even set it. It wasn't even that bad, but like it's still a little weird if like I touch my nose, I can feel like one side sticks out weirder than the other, but I was just kind of like, okay, like I don't know, that wasn't that fun, like it was cool, like
no more hardcore shows.
Yeah.
No, it just like, but I definitely
He's
feel
like, and that's when I started going to jazz concerts.
No, but I'm so happy that I experienced that and got to do all that, because I feel like there's a lot of music that does, like I feel like I take that, like, because sorry, let me start over here. That kind of music, it's so deliberate and it's so straightforward and it's so like loud and energetic and like real that I feel like I still carry that with me. And even though I don't play music like that anymore, I like to think that I take those sensibilities with me, and that's what I try and do with Sad Baxter. Is like, like there's a few different ways we could play the songs that DZ writes, and I feel like the way that we play it, we try and be loud and like aggressive, but at the same time it's like try and keep there's like really cool melodies, and there's like there's not a delicateness, but like there's some intricacy to it that like if you just went 100% like fuzzed out whatever, you'd miss it. But it's this balance between like being loud and aggressive and deliberate and straightforward, and at the same time like nuanced and thinking like intelligently about how all the different pieces of the song fit together, and letting the great writing of the song just shine. That I feel like a lot of the bands that we really like Nirvana and like Weezer and like Pixies and like the Muffs, like they all got that right.
Well, I was gonna say, and also when we started playing together all the songs that we ended up recording on the album, I remember coming to practice and being like, I need you to listen to like nothing except In Utero. Just listen to the drums on In Utero.
That's such a great fucking album.
It's
That's
amazing,
my favorite
and
Nirvana
the drumming
album.
is so good. Like, and I remember I had a couple songs in mind. Like one of our songs on our album, Holy Hell, I remember specifically being like, I don't know what we need to do with the drums, but I know you need to listen to In Utero before we like figure that out. So it's like his hardcore upbringing plus me being like, listen to Nirvana, like over and over again, I think helped. But yeah. You're
I love that fucking album.
It's amazing. It's a masterpiece.
I think as far as like Nirvana is concerned, I think that's the greatest, and some people disagree with me when I say this, I think that's the greatest punk album of all time.
Okay.
That's like the most, in my opinion, the most punk album. I think obviously, it's grunge or whatever you want to say, but I feel like Kurt Cobain's original vision was to be a punk rock band.
Yeah.
And that was them rebelling at their fucking height and being like, so we're not going to double track the vocals. We're not going to have all these sugary sweet hooks like on the first album.
But they still do that. That's the
it's true. It is kind of unavoidable in his writing.
Well, I mean, and I think, I agree. I mean, I think that's what they were going for. But at the same time, like, most of the songs on that record, you play them on acoustic guitar and sing them, and it's like, oh, it's like the most beautiful, like
very well
folk,
written,
whatever song, you know. And it's like, but then you do it in the context of how they did it on the record, and it's like, oh shit, this is like the heaviest punk thing ever. You know, it's crazy. I mean, just how it's a testament to how good the writing was.
I mean, I think it's kind of funny, like you said, that they were like trying to move away from like all the catchy hooks and stuff that there were on Nevermind, but that makes me think of like when they recorded Bleach, and after they finished Bleach and were touring with it, they thought it was like weird when people would like respond better to like the heavier, more almost like metal sounding songs off that album, because I think they felt more of an attachment, or I think like Kurt Cobain and Chris Novoselic felt more of an attachment to the songs that had a more melodic thing going on. So then when they did like Nevermind and they did In Utero, I think In Utero is a really good marriage of all the rebellion, punk rock, grunge, everything that's going on, all the creepy, weird noises that you're like, I don't know why I like this because it kind of irritates my ears, but it's rad, mixed with just the brilliant, beautiful songwriting that is really showcased on Nevermind. So it's like, kind of like, here's Bleach, which is this really weird fucking album that makes everyone's ears bleed, although it's probably my favorite album ever. And then there's Nevermind, which is just like an amazing like alternative pop rock album basically. And then In Utero comes out, and I think they're all just so incredible. Like, I could gush about Nirvana for forever, but I think that album is basically just them taking everything they've done and evolving it, kind of, but together, you know. That's
what made Nirvana and I think Kurt Cobain such great artists, is because they were about the evolution. You always wanted to go and do something different. Like, I think, you know, if you were still alive today, who knows what would be fucking going on, what he would be doing, but it wouldn't be like Nirvana, right? It wouldn't be like it would be something completely different. You know, he was like a David Bowie in that way, where he constantly wanted to evolve. So I did you see Montage of Heck? Did you guys see that?
No, but I read the companion book to it.
No, I actually haven't seen it either. I watched that one. I forget what it's called.
Soaked in Bleach.
Yeah, the one where it's like the
Courtney Love is guilty.
The Courtney Love conspiracy.
Well, Montage of Heck is basically about Kurt Cobain. And what I've been told about it is it's a lot of like home videos and then a lot of interviews with people about Kurt. So it's a more in-depth look to like who he is as a person, as a songwriter, what he was like growing up. I'm really terrible at watching movies. Like, I only watch movies when someone is like, we're watching a movie and it's like a group of friends or whatever. Like I said, I'm obsessed with Nirvana, and one of my really good friends had to basically trick me into sitting down and watching Soaked in Bleach. I wanted to watch that a lot. And I was at his house and he was like, oh, I just want to show you this one part, and he shows me 5 minutes, and then he's like, oh, and then this other one, and then he just let the movie go, and I was just sitting there like the whole time.
What did you think of it?
It's complicated. So I'm a really big Hole fan. Like, it's hard for me because I really love Courtney Love's music, and I don't know anything. I don't know anything about anything. I don't know anything about, like, basically just the logistics of, okay, so his gun was lying here, and that means that it's impossible that this happened or whatever. And there are so many different, like, stories.
There's a lot of variables to it.
Yeah, there's so many variables. But
and it was definitely painted in a certain way to make you think Courtney Love was guilty.
I definitely don't think that she killed him. I don't know anything else beyond that. I'm not so sure he killed himself, but I don't think that she killed him herself. So I'm not sure. That's kind of where I'm at. So it's this confused.
There is a conspiracy theory, is what you're saying. You just don't know what the conspiracy theory is.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I feel very suspicious about it all. And that
I'm
movie,
all for conspiracy
that movie
theories.
definitely doesn't paint a pretty picture of Courtney Love, but it's also hard for me to kind of talk about it because I respect so much of like what she
Sure,
put
yeah,
out
as an
into
artist.
the
Yeah.
like riot girl scene and just everything. So yeah,
I thought
we listen a whole other way
Montage-
over here. So
Montage of Heck, when I was watching that, I thought, wow, like that wasn't even like Courtney killed him because obviously it was made by Kurt Cobain's daughter.
yeah.
But it really didn't make Courtney Love look good at all. She looked really bad in Montage of Heck.
she's well, she's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
you
she
know?
is.
She's crazy, and she and Kurt Cobain were both on a lot of drugs. But there's also like
Heroin will do that to you.
yeah, but then there's also the thing that's like, well, he really loved her, and
Yeah.
you watch interviews of him, and he talks about her like he thought the world of her, and he says literally, she's my best friend in many interviews. So it's like, I don't know. Okay, so she was fucking insane, but like something worked for a while at least, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's a polarizing kind of story because you see it's like this American soap opera in a way because you see the art and you see kind of the direct influence, and then of course you know how the story ends.
yeah, it's it's similar to like Sid and Nancy. You know? It's, and who fucking knows about that? Because I think there's a
they were
conspiracy
junkies
around
too.
that,
Yeah.
So who knows? It's just, oh God, I don't know. Like, I hate even thinking about it.
Don't do heroin.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You can do
try
drugs,
not to.
But don't do
That's the
heroin.
moral
So
of this
hard.
podcast.
Yeah.
Don't do heroin.
Oh, is this
Don't
just
do
a PSA
heroin.
to not do heroin?
Yeah.
Because,
If you were thinking about it, don't do it.
Put the needle down.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do not do it.
Okay.
Fun story about heroin, sort of. Not really, but fun story about heroin that has to do with the album is, so in one of the
Wait,
songs...
please tell me this story.
No, I've told you this story before. So, one of the songs on our album, Holy Hell,
Oh, yeah, I guess.
starts with, I hate saying my lyrics out loud, but the second verse says, like, what needle cuts through the flesh of your viscera while you lay stiff? And so, one time I was visiting my mom, and I think she had been watching a video that Alex and I made of us just playing the song acoustic, like, in his house. And she, like, loved the song, and she knew all the words. And then she's like, so you mentioned a needle in this song? And I'm like, yeah. And she just, like, kind of looks at me, and she's like, you don't, or you haven't ever. And I realized that she was basically trying to ask me if I've ever done, like, heroin, or if I inject myself with drugs. And I was so taken aback and was like, ugh, Mom, like, no, what do you, like, I moved to Nashville, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, this is it. And I just started doing heroin.
It would be meth if it was a salad.
Yeah. It was just, like, so silly to me because it, like, went against everything I feel like my mom knew about me because I don't have any interest in doing drugs. Like, I mean, I've smoked pot, and I will continue to do that at times. But that's it. Like,
Legalize it.
yeah, so... But it was funny because she said that, and then she got really defensive and was like, well, I don't know, like, you're singing about needles, like, what could it be about? And then I didn't make matters any better because I was like, that verse is about being dead. And she was like, what? Why are you singing songs about that? And I was like, I don't know, sometimes
I'm
I just
an
wanna
artist,
die.
Mom.
It's like, whatever. But it was funny because, I mean, heroin is hilarious. Just kidding, it's really not.
Well, I think, you got to get a little dark sometimes. You got to get real, man. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
true.
absolutely.
And I think that there's that level of kind of vulnerability that you're talking about with your songwriting. It's like where like I don't want my family to fucking hear this or to pay attention to what I'm doing because I'm getting real right here.
It's
I'm like
hard.
bearing my soul.
Yeah.
I definitely have moments like that where my mom will ask me what stuff means, and I don't really feel like I have the heart to tell her, like, what my brain was thinking during those times, because some songs come out of really bad places. And then I also deal with the fact that if I write a song and I'm like, oh, my sister would like this song, and I send it off to her, if it sounds like it's about a person, she goes, okay, who is this about? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to tell anyone.
Yeah.
Can't give all the secrets away.
Yeah, that's rough, dude. Luckily, like anything, whenever I'm showing my family, I pretty much just show them, and they'll be like, "Cool." They never fucking ask me.
Yeah.
Like they never.
My friends never ask me.
Yeah.
Like I don't send songs to Alex, and he's never like, "Oh my God, who is this about?" It's just like he listens to it, and he's like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Which is good. Thank you for not asking tons of questions.
Yeah. You know, you just gotta. You have to let it be.
Yeah, well, that's what I think, but
Yeah.
That's what
I know.
Paul McCartney thinks too.
Well, it's funny though because it's like it'll always kind of like make you wonder. Like some of my songwriter friends, like ones that have ever sent me early stages of their songs when I can make out the lyrics and think about it. I always am kind of like, oh, I wonder what this is about, or I wonder who this is about. But I never feel the need to ask them because it's really irrelevant. It's sort of
It's so personal.
it's very personal.
Yeah.
And then there's also the whole thing that's like once a song is out there, it's kind of up to your interpretation and sort of for your audience to bond with it and decide what it means to them more than anything. So, you know, it's whatever.
I think good songwriting, you have to be a little bit embarrassed to show the people that you love.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, it's got to be that level of realness, and there's so much today that doesn't exist or it doesn't translate, especially on like pop radio or even pop rock radio.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of very overplayed mainstream music is just very insincere. So, and it's, you know, it's fun and it's feel good sometimes it's not, but a lot of it's insincere, and sometimes people don't recognize that. A lot of the times people do, but they still like it anyway, and that's totally fine. You're gonna like what you're gonna like, but I think that's something that creates a really special bond between the listener and the creator is when they can tell, like, no, it sounds like they mean it, you know?
Well, I mean, it's when you're experiencing art, you are either consciously or subconsciously looking for something to connect with. Whether, you know, for me, for music, like I like something that's genuine. Like I'll listen to the stupidest stuff, but if I can tell that the person that's doing it really believes in it, is like 100% all in on it, then you know, a lot of times I'll just like, yeah, I like this because it's you know, it could be like
real.
It's real, exactly. Like and so, but you know, and you know, whether what you're looking for is like, because you know, some people might not be looking for a lot out of their art. They might be like there's people that just turn on the radio and then whatever's on, they just leave it on because it's like they're just like, oh, I just want something there while I'm doing other things, and like and they're just like, oh yeah, like that song, like I've heard this before, so I like it, you know, and then then you know what I mean, like, and that's it, and that's where, like, you know, that kind of like disingenuine music that we all are kind of like, ugh, like I don't really like that, you know. But for some people, that's all they want from their art, and that's great, and you have to respect that. Yeah, like that's a valid point. There's no wrong art.
Yeah.
But you know,
which is sometimes not like, sometimes you can like kind of forget that and you can be like, this is so stupid, and then you kind of remind yourself like, but it is what it is.
Right, like
we're gonna like it,
it's
we're
like,
gonna hate it.
You know,
that's
like
how it goes.
You know, whenever like a band's popular and like, or especially if like my gut reaction, if like there's like a really popular band and like I check out their stuff and I don't like it, and I'm just like, my gut reaction is like, why do people like this? You know,
okay,
like
just be so cynical.
For example, I hate Morrissey. I don't get it, and I don't get the Smiths, but there is something there that so many people are crazy about that I'm just kind of like, okay, like I actually just wish that I got it. Like I wish that I was.
I feel the same way about them.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand it. I've never been able to get into it.
But so many people just like adore him and adore that band, and it's like they're doing everything right. Then it's just there's a disconnect with me and the music, but not with everyone else.
And also, like, especially as like we're in a band trying to be successful and you know, to get better opportunities for us and to get our music out there and stuff. And especially when you take around and you look at other bands that are, you know, doing what you want to do and are successful, and then you start comparing yourself to them, and you're like, well, we could do that better, like, you know, and then you start getting all jealous and stuff.
I think Alex has a harder time with this than I do.
Sure, but this is what I try and tell myself is like, look, like, whatever they're doing, we're not doing because they're doing better than us. You know what I mean? And so how can we, like, it's like the only blame or fault I can place, you know, is on ourselves.
That's hard too.
Yeah, because like, I mean,
everybody
like, you know,
has their own path.
Like yeah, exactly. And so, you know,
that's what I think. So I don't feel like any blame is put upon us.
No, like you're just like seriously, like, you know, like that band can't play, and like they're like doing all this stuff, and then, why do people, and then it's like, well, wait, like, no, they're doing something right. People like it because of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you have, like, and I just tell myself, like, you have to accept that and just do your own thing and, like, and feel awesome about them and then feel awesome about yourself. Like, it doesn't matter.
It also just makes you, like, a happier person in general if you just can accept it and kind of, even if you don't like it, just kind of respect, like, what they're doing. Like, that's, because I feel like I used to have a similar problem where I would get kind of hung up on, like, man, I just don't understand why people are crazy about this band when I feel like maybe what we're doing is better or what our friends are doing is better or whatever. But it just makes you so negative and unhappy, and it's just better to kind of be like, well, what's going to happen is going to happen, and we're going to work as hard as we can, and we're going to continue being exactly who we are and doing what we have to do because this is just us. And like
the number one thing for me is when I feel like a band has a gimmick, and that's why they're popular.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is like we don't have a gimmick. We just like what I think makes a band good is when they're just very much themselves, and that's what we're doing. And so it's annoying when bands have gimmicks.
No, when it's like, and it's like
they're buying this.
Or it's like just like I'm just making up something. It's like like this band's awesome. Like the singer like dresses up like this, and then they play a show, and it's like okay. Like, and for me, that's not why I like music because of the music. Yeah. But I mean,
he's very mad that the New York Dolls ever became.
No. I know. I'm just saying and then you have to take yourself out of it and think like, okay, well, like what they do during a show and what their thing is part of the art. Yeah. Like the music is part of it, and also the performance is a part of it, and the image is a part of it, and everything. And so like. Nowadays I'm just like, dude, good for you. Like you found your thing and it's working for you, and that's awesome. And I don't know. I hope that we can find our thing. I mean, I think we're finding our thing, and it's just
finding our
playing.
gimmick.
Yeah. No, I mean, just like
I'm gonna start tap dancing during shows, so there's that.
No, but honestly, I feel like putting out this record and where we are right now, I think that we're finally doing stuff that we really, really want to do. Because you start out as a band, and you have this idea of what you want to do, and then you try and do it, and then the first time you do it, it sucks, and then the second time you do it, it's like sucks, and like and you think you're doing it at the time, and then you do something else and it's better, and then you look back and you're like, oh, what I was doing then was not anywhere close to what I had set out to do.
That's the entirety of life.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I feel like
in like any situation,
I feel like more often now than ever before, I'm able to kind of step back and be like, and try and be objective about it and just say like, oh no, like that thing we're doing is really, really close to what we had initially set out to do. Yeah. And I think we're getting closer and closer, which is nice because I mean we've been playing together for almost a decade, just in different bands, just me and DZ. But then like this band has been like 3-ish years. Yeah. And so I feel like we're finally just now getting to a point where we're hitting something that we really tried to do from the beginning. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. It took a while to get there.
Yeah.
It takes I always like Malcolm Gladwell. Do you know Malcolm Gladwell? He wrote the book Outliers.
Yeah, I haven't read any of his stuff, but I've been meaning to because
you would really appreciate it. He has this thing called the 10,000 hour rule, where it's to master your craft, you have to put in 10,000 hours. Yeah. So if you guys have been doing this for 3 years and have been playing together for
how many hours?
Around 10, you've probably put in a lot of hours doing this.
We definitely have. It's really weird because it's like it's a mix of us finding our stride performing together and also just being musicians on our own. Like I know that the songs that I've been writing basically just since we decided to start being Sad Baxter is a lot more what I've always wanted to write since I first started writing songs when I was 13. Like it took me like a decade to start writing music that I still really like. All the songs that I've written that we've played basically since I moved to Nashville and we started Sad Baxter, I don't think any of them are bad. Like I look back at songs I wrote in college and I'm like, ugh, I never want to hear that again. And I don't feel that way about a single one of our songs. So that's a really good thing because that means that we're doing something right.
You're just really full of yourself. That's
I just have a huge ego.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but then it's also like, but then when we get together and perform, it's just we've been playing together for so long that we finally have like kind of figured out like what works for us. And I think I've gotten a lot more comfortable just playing guitar and not being the best guitar player in the world, but definitely not being the worst. Like just having that medium, whatever. But like I feel comfortable now instead of feeling really unstable.
Yeah, and like the songs that were put out on the album we just put out, like the newest ones on that record are still like 2 years old, but we still play most of them live like right now, and we're gonna keep playing them.
Yeah.
And I'm not tired of them yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's a testament to it, at least
the
like,
goodness of the songwriting.
The worst thing is like when you record something and you put it out, and then like you already moved beyond it before you even put it out, and like I mean it happens to everyone. It's happened to us before too. Like so. But right now, it's. I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
It feels good. Feels good.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you guys or find your music, find your upcoming shows, stuff like that? Where do you have it online?
We have so much of the social media stuff. So if they want to know about show dates, we have a Facebook page. Just search Sad Baxter. We've got an Instagram account that's just at Sad Baxter. We have a Twitter account that I run that is at Sad Baxter. We have an email address. We are sadbaxtermusic@gmail.com that people send us things for booking or just whatever else they send us. In terms of music, they can go to sadbaxter.com.
Takes us to the Bandcamp.
Takes them to our Bandcamp page, which is where we are currently selling our cassette and some other merch that we have going. We have them for sale at our shows now that it's finally been released.
And music's on Spotify and iTunes, and I think it's on Amazon too.
I think it's on Amazon.
Yeah, I think so. So
I think my mom bought it on Amazon, even though we gave her a cassette.
Nice. Hey, that's
classic mom move.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mom.
We'll take it.
Well, actually, no. I mean, thank you, because that's good.
Yeah. And to contact us, you mean through our email or through our Facebook is fine.
And we're fairly friendly people. If you see us around town, you
That's
should
true.
not talk to us. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we like talking to people. So, yeah, we have all this social media stuff.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
And record release show again, just one more time this Friday at what is the name of the place?
Queen Ave Art Collective.
Queen Ave Arts Collective.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Thanks.